And we're joined on the phone today by the legendary Dave Clark, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, leader of the Dave Clark Five, and the new album, All the Hits, is available now. Dave, how you doing today?
I'm fine, thanks, Dustin. And you?
I am excellent. It's an honor to be speaking with you. Thanks for joining me.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Well, let's talk a bit about the new album here, the new Dave Clark Five, All the Hits. What made you decide to put this one out here?
Well, I haven't bought albums out for ages. We did, all of our stuff went on iTunes because I knew Steve Jobs from Apple in the early days. And, everybody's been on about us doing it. And, BMG said they'd package it the way I wanted to. And I thought, well, we should do it properly, and I'm very pleased with it.
And I read you actually went and remastered all these songs yourself for the new release.
Yes, well, I've always done my own recordings because I produce the originals. And, the trip for me, apart from this being on CD, and it's got a 32-page booklet with it, that gives the whole history of the boys. But they wanted vinyl, and it's the first time I've cut vinyl since the 70s, and it was quite a trip to do it at Abbey Road.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, kind of the resurgence of vinyl and, just singles these days. It's almost like it's kind of come around full circle back the way it used to be back in the 50s and 60s.
Yes. Well, I don't know if it'll ever come back because of technology today. It'd be lovely to come back. I always like buying the record, so to me, the cover was important as what was in there, whoever you bought it by, But, things move on, but it's wonderful. I would never have thought 50 years on people would still be buying our music. I remember talking to John Lennon about it in the early days. None of us believed it would last 3 or 4 years, let alone 50 years or whatever.
Well, yeah, it seemed like you guys really could do no wrong back then. I mean, you had so much success, so quickly. What was that like for you, just as, a young guy, kind of seeing all that happen so fast?
It was amazing, actually. It's like I didn't realize how big America was because, England's one place and that's what we were brought up in. You see all the American movies and they're larger than life. But to do the Sullivan Show and know that there was 70 million people watching it was unbelievable. And then we went off to for 5 days in Jamaica to take a break, came back 5 days later we did the Sullivan Show two weeks running, and to find there were 30-odd thousand people at Kennedy Airport, and they couldn't get us out. They had to get us out by helicopter. It shows the power of television and of radio. You get the two combined, and you're getting into 70 million homes. It's hard to believe, but it was exciting. It was amazing.
Well, Dave, you mentioned speaking with John Lennon. What was your relationship like with the bands around that time? The Beatles, Stones, Herman's Hermits. I know, the press kind of wanted to make it seem like you guys had a rivalry, but were you friendly behind the scenes, or was it actually
pretty? There was no rivalry. We got on very well. In fact, John and Paul always came to my parties and vice versa, went to theirs, and in fact, Paul did a documentary about the DC-5 for us, which ran out on PBS in America. No, there was no rivalry. I think what it was the press, and Paul said this in the documentary. They were Liverpool, and also in England, there's a big football team called Liverpool. We were from Tottenham, which is London, and there's a huge London football team called Tottenham Hotspur. So therefore, the press made it Liverpool against Tottenham, the Beatles versus the DC-5, and we used to laugh about it. No, there was no rivalry. They deserved all the success they had, and there was no animosity at all.
Awesome. Again, the new Dave Clark 5 album, All the Hits, is available now, and I know you've got actually two different versions, one for the U.S. and one for the U.K. Obviously, all the big hits are on there, all the charting ones, but was it tough for you to choose, some of the other tracks to fill out the album?
Well, not on the American one, on the one that's the English release, because in England there's no restrictions on how many songs you put on. There's a restriction in America, a publishing restriction, I believe. But we had lots of hits that we never released in America, but it was throughout Europe and, Japan and Australia and, generally Germany, all these places. And so it's a mixture. So they're all hits, but try to mix and match it, I would like to have bought the whole lot out in the States, but, you've got to go with what they're supposed to do, what they ask you to do, so it's fine.
Sure.
They're all the American hits, which is great. And American audiences were wonderful for us.
Well, Dave, I think it's incredible that you own all the masters of these recordings. How did you, have the foresight to do that? I think most bands in that position would have just about signed anything that they got put in front of them.
Sure. Well, it's fine after the event. Everybody says, "Oh, you were wonderful." When we first started, we went for some recording tests, but they all wanted you to play their music, not ours, and to record it the way they wanted to do. We were very much an independent band, and I did a deal with EMI, but I didn't have any money. But fortunately, I did stunt work as a living and film extra work, and I got a stunt for 3 nights crashing a car, and that paid for the first record. And the rest is history, because the first record was a hit.
Yeah, that's great that you still have control of all of those. A lot of that stuff kind of gets lost, or, moved around, released all the time on, various
and it
platforms.
Doesn't have the quality that the originals had, because all they're interested, people buy them, and they just put them out on compilation albums or whatever. Really for creative control, that was all. If it was a hit, wonderful. If it wasn't, we had nobody else to blame but ourselves.
Well, obviously you guys, did the right thing, and the new Dave Clark 5 album, All the Hits, is out now. Is there something else coming up, Dave, or something else in the works we should be looking out for?
No, really. You heard of Freddie Mercury, of Queen. We, on that, I bought a track I'd done with Freddie, which I wrote with, and it came out in July, and we did over 30 million streams on it.
Awesome. Again, I am a huge fan. It's been an honor speaking with you, Dave. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. You take care.
All right, you too. Thank you. And again, that was the one and only Dave Clark of the Dave Clark 5, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer. And the new album from the Dave Clark 5, All the Hits, is available now.